We the people, we the people, we the people, we the people.
United States of America.
Hey, what's up? It's Jay with We the People of RI. We're at New England Tech today, 2480 Post Road, Warwick, Rhode Island. And we got a whole lot of trivia to do, so let's get it cracking. We the People of RI, New England Tech episode. Peace.
My name is Adam Cole. I'm from Warwick, Rhode Island. I'm here to express my First Amendment right. I have a lot of things to say about the United States of America today, in particular, one subject. It seems that most of the United States of America today, unfortunately, is made in China. Just about all of our low-cost purchase goods that we use day in, day out are all made in China. I realized this a few years back, how bad the problem was. About a year ago, I took a notebook and I walked around my own house. And I wrote down all the things that were made in China. I tried to apply all the things that I own into the countries in which they were produced. Everything was made in China. My television, my toaster, all the electronics in my home, dishes, cups. There was some silverware from Japan. My clothing all came from Taiwan, Thailand, Indonesia, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Mexico, Venezuela. Product after product. I could not find one thing in my house that was made in the United States. Finally, I came across a couple. This tube of chapstick was made in the United States. After that, I found a can of shaving cream that was also made in the United States. A few medications. But the overall percentage of things that I owned made in the United States as compared to other countries was about 3% of all the things in my home were made in China or other foreign nations. That's a real serious problem, and I encourage everyone to do the same thing in their homes to really gauge the scope of the economy today. The problem is, as Americans, since the turn of the century, we became known worldwide as the greatest producing nation on the planet. Manufacturing jobs were everywhere. A person didn't necessarily need an education to get a good manufacturing job. Nowadays, those manufacturing jobs are leaving more and more every day. There's less and less manufacturing companies. The jobs that are left seem to be in retail. Some manufacturing jobs are left, but those are by no means mass-produced products for the population's consumption. The problem with this is, not only is this hurting our economy, this is hurting Americans overall, and not just Americans and their futures and the jobs for their children. This is hurting the soul of Americans. What I mean by that is we seem to be producing a nation of, say, young men who don't know how things are made anymore, who couldn't build something if you handed them an instruction booklet, a screwdriver, a hammer. There's no more hands-on. It's the men of this country are becoming feminized, and I think it's a direct result of the economy, of pop culture doing this to the young men of this country. And if this keeps up, I see in the near future, if our country should ever hit hard times again, there will be no men of this country to stand up and fall back on. Young men today, I see them every day. They're concerned with music and the small electronics that are in their pockets, their iPods, cameras, their cell phones, even though they wouldn't have the slightest clue of how any of these electronics work. Basic home electricity. If a kid hasn't gone to school directly for that, he might never know that you need two wires to feed an electronic device. Everything is simple to the kids nowadays, and they take everything for granted. They don't seem to think about the work that went into any of these great products that we use every day. Everything is easy for them. So it's not only having a society like this is not only destroying the nation, it's destroying the very minds of humans. I really fear for our future. If anything were to ever happen, we'd be helpless. And some might argue that's good. And I can understand that it'd be good that something detrimental could happen to this nation. And perhaps it would be good if all the men of this nation found themselves in hard times, and all the young men, the teenagers, and the girls found themselves in hard times. Maybe they'd wake up, begin to think again, begin to learn to build, how to create, how to work a screwdriver and a hammer, and actually become a real nation of producers again. I hate to think it, and I'd like for things to go on forever just like they are, nice and comfortable, but if that were to happen, maybe it could correct us. Everything we see is taken for granted, and it's affecting our young kids. Too much television. I know our grandparents told us too much television. Our parents told us too much television. Go out and play. Go through the woods. Learn how to make a bow and arrow. Learn how to make a fire by hitting two stones together with some dry brush. These talents are gone. It's like reserved to the Boy Scouts for children now. I don't like the decadent nature, the electronic nature, the instant satisfaction that our children are based on today. I fear that it's not going to get any better. As far as the economy and the jobs, all the jobs that these kids are getting nowadays are in retail, which are notoriously low-paying jobs. Manufacturing was always good in this nation, but now as it's going and the car companies are dying, plastics companies, everything is changing, and it's changing at a rapid pace. This is going to come to a head sooner or later. We're going to see it in our economy. If our economy doesn't crash soon in the near future, it may, because the telecommunications jobs now get pipelined through India and back. And we certainly can't have a nation of adults trying to sell goods at retail that were made in China and Bangladesh, India, Mexico, Venezuela. This cannot go on forever like this. We need to correct this nation, become a nation of producers again. Education has to change all around, because it looks like this system just is not doing it for children. They're almost being educated into helplessness. My hope for the nation is that maybe some kind of a hardship might come now while it's still bearable and reawaken us, instead of waiting and going on like this forever until an economic situation or a war or anything absolutely destroys us as a nation, and the United States ceases to exist as a whole. That's my piece.
Trivia questions. What country did Russia recently invade?
Some country that began with a G, right?
No idea.
Not the United States.
I have no idea.
I don't know, man.
I have no idea.
I don't know.
Let's see. That was the Georgian Republic.
This concludes this program broadcast. We the People, a freedom of speech television show. Go to www.wethepeopleofri.org.